You're here today, you're here for supercharging grant writing with AI. And so a little bit about myself. I am Marcus Finley. I am the CEO and head of digital for Fin Digital. We work with companies, mid-market companies, organizations to help them to navigate this changing landscape around artificial intelligence, helping from education, empowering teams to understand how these technologies work, to then also figure out their own process to be able to adopt and identify areas internally, operationally, that they can use AI to make improvements, and then externally, how they can improve customer experience or user experiences with their program services that can be delivered using some form of AI automation. We'll go a little bit into what that is, but a little bit about my background. I've been in software and digital for over 15 years. I've worked with a number of organizations from Red Cross, Chamber of Commerce. I worked for a few agencies before starting my own, called Fin Digital, about 8 years ago. But why I have expertise in this area, particularly around grant writing, I served as a grants manager at Share Our Strength, where I reviewed over thousands of grant proposals as well as written proposals as part of my role as grants manager at Share Our Strength. But even at two other smaller nonprofits, I was always the leader in writing grants for the organization. And so I took my experience with reviewing grants, writing grants, managing grant review processes for grant funders, as well as my experience in the technology space. And it's like, here, this is a problem we're solving, knowing that there's so much stress around the grant writing process, and being able to use some of these new techniques to be able to make the grant writing process easier and easily, or hopefully more effective, to be able to, one, increase your win rate, as we've been seeing with some of the proposals that we write, but also that it makes the grant writing process less stressful. If you're like me, I always wait until the last minute to get it done. All right. So let's go into our agenda for today. And also just a really quick note, like really the goal for us, and even while we did the session for free, targeted for individuals that worked in nonprofits that are looking to do grant writing, our goal and our mission is to reach 6 million people to help them tap into their ideas and make it come to life. And that we believe that the technologies that we work on have the capacity to really help transform organizations in the way that they deliver, particularly nonprofits, how they can reach more, do more good, and be able to work more efficient, knowing that administrative costs and keeping them low is a really important thing for nonprofits. All right. Sorry, I need to get my Zoom window out the way because it is. All right. So what we want to cover today, we're going to do a quick crash course on AI. We won't go really in depth. I have some additional videos. So at the end, you'll be able to, I have everyone's email address. I'll share additional information. We have videos that we've already done on the basics of AI for those who are more interested and going deeper into the basics of that. But for today, we'll just go over a high level in areas where it's very practical for our topic around one subject, or part of our topic for today, which is finding grants. And we'll highlight a process using AI and automation to be able to find, extract, and be notified of grant opportunities. And then we'll highlight our techniques that we've developed using either ChatGPT or Cassidy to be able to support your grant writing process. Obviously, AI has been the topic of conversation for at least the past year. It's been a topic of computer science, machine learning for over AI machine learning has been around since the advent of computer science, but over the last 4 to 5 years, it's grown rapidly. And over the last year, with the onset of ChatGPT, it's became more mainstream and adopted across many of the software solutions we use. But you can see some of the stats here that AI is now becoming a tool that's being operationalized across many organizations and companies, and that over the next year, we'll be seeing more and more small, medium-sized businesses, organizations, nonprofits starting to incorporate AI into how they operate as an organization. AI is everywhere, and has been starting to solve problems across all different sectors, from improving water quality to be able to track elephants across the continent, to even increasing efficiencies through electricity grid. But AI shows up in all aspects of our life now and will continue to grow. And so we're hoping, as we cover today, I think areas like nonprofits tend to be at the bottom of this list. And so we're hoping to be able to provide strategies and approaches for nonprofits and organizations to be able to take advantage of these technologies to make what you do easier. So I'm going to cover a couple of vocabulary words because I'm going to mention them a few times as we go through this session. I want to make sure that we're missing any of those important points. But let me admit one other person here. Natural language processing. So many of the tools that we're using have the ability to take text that we write and interpret that into language. And so things like ChatGPT, hopefully everyone here has at least tried to use ChatGPT before. It's been trained on large sets of data, and so it uses natural language processing to interpret language to be able to generate results. There's machine learning. So machine learning is the capability for computer and machines to be able to improve its understanding over time. And so many of the tools that we use that have AI in the technologies that we use have some ability of self-learning. So as it interacts with more requests, it can improve its performance across similar questions in the future. Neural networks, we probably won't touch much about this today, but neural networks are the things that make AI work. Neural networks are basically the idea that computer chips recreate the same way that the neurons in our own brains make connections between things. So we have the sense of smell and taste and touch, and all those different signals in our brains connect together to put together a scene that's happening in front of us. So I'm eating dinner, I touch a fork, I see food in front of me, I smell the food, all these things connect in my brain to help me understand what's happening in front of me. This that computer scientists have started developing processes using GPUs and software to be able to simulate that same type of connections between different senses. So if it's either text or language or vision, or I'm uploading a file, these neural networks can take different inputs and simulate the same type of connections that happen in the human brain, and that's what a neural network is. And that's really the basis of how artificial intelligence works. And then the last aspect is computer vision, and that comes up as we're thinking about uploading documents into a ChatGPT and it using computer vision to look at the document, to extract text from the document, and then to generate results based upon the text that it extracts or images that it sees. So those are kind of the high level topics. We'll go in a little bit more as we cover, but I just wanted to make sure we're all starting from the same place. Another important thing about AI is that when you enter in a message into ChatGPT, it's not like AI is a human typing in responses. The way that AI works is based on predictions. And so if you type in the phrase, a bird in the hand, the model, and we can do this example, but we'll have plenty of time today to go through other times to kind of chat with ChatGPT. But the goal of this is that you're able to see that even if you don't ask a question, the AI will try to predict an answer or an appropriate answer based upon the words that you typed. So it's less about these tools are a human sitting in a box that simulates to be a human and it tries to answer your questions, is that these tools have been trained, particularly things like ChatGPT and Anthropic Claude or Perplexity, or a number of these tools that are text-based tools that you can type into. They've been trained on large aspects of the internet. They have access to things like Reddit now to be able to understand how humans talk and trending topics. And based upon all this knowledge that it has, it can predict how to generate results based upon the questions that you ask. So this is important just because what you ask and how you ask it is really important to determine the results that you get. And so that's why the next topic is really important, is how you prompt these tools are hugely important on driving the outcomes that you get. So when you want to write a prompt, and this is going to show up again as we go further through our session today, but the core of writing a really good prompt, start with these three aspects. They can get more robust as you get better at writing prompts for tools like ChatGPT. But the core things that are part of any good prompt are the question that you're looking to ask. If you have any examples of what you want the output to look like. So if we're thinking about grant writing, if you want to have the AI to help you write a mission statement, if you have one or two really great mission statements, or you found a grant writing book and it gave you two examples of writing great mission statements, you can put those as examples in your prompt to give the AI tool that you're interacting with guidelines for what good looks like, and then you can provide constraints. And so constraints represent either style. Hey, I want you to write, and I use this a lot, write a 10th grade reading level, or write at a 8th grade reading level, depending on the audience. Or there's a lot of, on the marketing side, there's a lot of language and thought around, having most of the things that you write in terms of marketing copy at no more than a 5th to 8th grade reading level to keep it accessible to as many people as possible. But things like that you can put into the constraints of your prompt. So you can say, help me write my mission statement. Here's two examples of best practices for writing a mission statement. When you write this mission statement, write it at a 10th grade reading level, no more than 3 paragraphs, and this type of writing style. And so when you write a prompt like that, you will in most cases, get the result you're looking for, because one, you made it clear to the model what your question is. You provided very clear examples of what you want, and then you define the constraint of how it should generate the results. And with those things, that will, in most cases, give you what you want, and you can build from that. All right, so I'm going to jump into kind of hopefully everyone has had some interactions with ChatGPT. We're going to jump over to one of the first tools we'd like to highlight today. Our team worked to develop a GPT for grant writing on ChatGPT. I'll highlight what it does, but then we'll kind of walk through how to use it. For those who are on a computer or on your phone, you can use this bit.ly link. That's https://bit.ly/grant-GPT. And that will take you directly to the grant writing GPT that I'm going to walk you through and how it works. But this will be example of kind of the first tool I want to demonstrate, and then we'll get into Cassidy next. But it'll also walk you through some of the features it can do and how this can support you with your grant writing process. And actually, I saw a quick comment before we jump over to that. Yes, when you're writing your prompt, you can define the characters, number of spaces, but you also want to be careful when you're writing constraints that you don't generate conflicting constraints, because then that creates confusion for the AI. So for example, if you say, the output should be no more than 10 characters, but it should be 10 paragraphs, that's going to drive the AI crazy, because now you've only told it to use 10 characters, but then you asked it to write 10 paragraphs. So you got to be very thoughtful when you're thinking about constraints, not to create contradicting constraints that then may affect the output or the results of your output. So just be very thoughtful about your constraints and not try to either complicate them or either reduce the amount of overlap that could happen. That particularly tends to be around writing style. So don't say write like a 10th grader, but then write like a college professor. Those things kind of bump heads, and then you'll be up to the AI to determine the best way to do that. All right. And so let's go to the GPT. And then for those, once I get this pulled up, I will also highlight what a GPT is for you. So you'll see here, if you successfully click the link, you'll be able to quickly navigate to this GPT. I'm going to enlarge it a bit so it's easier to see on the screen share. For those who were having trouble clicking the link, you can type in the ultimate grant. I should probably put a name of my own. Yes. There you go. So you type in the ultimate grant proposal writer. You'll see it show up here and you can click it. You'll see it provides a description of the GPT, and then it provides you with, these are the 4 different starter conversations they can start. Well, we'll go through all 4 of these and kind of walk you through how this works. But this is one of the, this is like level 1 in terms of how we support people with starting to identify how to use AI for grant writing. So from my experience, there's kind of 4 key areas that AI can be really helpful. One is you already have a PDF of the grant that you're looking to write. And so you can be able to upload that grant with its requirements into this pre-designed grant writer or proposal writer. And in this grant proposal writer, I took a lot of the best practices that I've used, and I pulled in a few source materials around YouTube videos, a couple of books, and a few other areas where I pulled case studies, best examples of what proposals should look like, and all that's been used to train this model on how to work. And so when you upload your grant, it will then take you through a process to help you write the grant. And in some cases, depending if there's enough information, it will start writing the grant completely for you. There's another one where if you have a link to the grant, so maybe the grant is listed online and it has all the requirements, you can put a link to the proposal requirements and work through the process to respond to the grant that way. Another one that I tend to think is pretty useful is one, just identifying if a grant is worth you writing for, to make sure that the organization priorities kind of match to your organization. So you can use this third prompt here. I have an org funding. I want to know the org's funding priorities and be able to compare that to myself. And then tell me more about our programs. So it just kind of help you to expand out in the programs that you have, and using ChatGPT to kind of help with that. So let's go through like the first example. I want to pull up. I'm based here. Oh, go ahead. I think we have a question.
Yeah, Marcus, I'm sorry. I clicked on a link. I am nowhere where you are, buddy. I am behind. I don't have the screen up. So
Okay.
uh
I'll try to walk you through what we have. For those, yeah, if you're not able to see the screen, and are you able to see it? I just actually let me make sure you're able to see my screen. For those who can, if you can, just do a thumbs up, and then make sure that I am successfully sharing my screen. And then while doing that,
Yes, you are.
all right, great. And then I could see there's one question here. Would this be able to help me draft proposal for government and local bids? And actually, one of the examples I'm going to share here is a Maryland grant. This one specifically is around, I believe this, if I remember this grant, I believe this one is for places of worship to get a grant from the state of Maryland for security. specifically around like security cameras and equipment for securing places of worship. So I believe this is the one here. So I have a few of them up. And let's see if this is the right page I want. Yeah. So with this one, I can take the link. I'm going to share. I'm going to jump back over to ChatGPT, and I'm going to click the link that says I have a link to the proposal. And then it's going to ask me for the proposal. So I'll provide the link. I guess in this case, I may have grabbed the wrong, because I've got this to work before. Let's see if I can click on. I'm going to take this URL to see if that works better. So with ChatGPT, it has the ability to search the internet. So yeah, so it was able to extract that document from the URL. So it's able to see here are the requirements. So that's one of the things of using this GPT that we've designed, is that it will help you to identify all the aspects of the proposal that you need to complete. That's obviously sometimes the hard part of even getting these proposals are like, what do I need to put in it? And so we made that part of the GPT that we built, is being able to assess the proposal, particularly ones that have a web URL, to help you through the proposal process. And if this works successfully, because I've done this to work before, I'm going to take a link to a place of worship that I'm going to add in here. So I'm going to say, here is my organization's website.
Marcus, where do you put that writing? Where do you type that requirement? No, I don't see it.
Oh, it's not showing that part. Let me see if I share my whole browser. Let's see, because I think maybe it's only showing
No,
part of the
no,
screen.
it's showing.
We can see the browser.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to share my whole desktop, and I don't have to switch between tabs. But here, there's this section here right at the bottom of the screen where there's like a little clip, and then an area where I can type in text. So here I'm typing in, here's my organization's website. I'm putting in the website. Please use this to generate a proposal response. What will happen, it's going to try to draft most of it, because there's limits of how much ChatGPT can generate at once. All of their outputs are going to be pretty brief, but what this is going to be helpful for is going to create an outline that we can build upon for starting to build out our proposal. And so this is a great starting place to be able to start building your proposal out. And even here, starting to look at the justification, and then even starting to put together a basic budget for this proposal response.
Marcus,
So,
I apologize.
Mhm.
What was your prompt? What did you tell it to do
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
to get this?
Yeah, so to get this response, you'll see here is my organization's website, and I put the link to the church.
Got you.
Then it says, please use this to generate a proposal.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
And so with that, I was able to generate the basically like first draft, almost an outline basically of the proposal. So I got the executive summary. It then defined the goals, the impact, and the funding request of $150,000. So this was ideally, this is, even when I wrote grants, to be able to have this as a starting place is amazing. So within a few seconds, I have an outline and structure for how I should write the proposal. Also, all of this is based upon how we train the model or this GPT on best practices. So it follows a really solid structure on how the grant should be structured or the proposal response to be structured. We actually even put in there winning grants, so grants that I've won before. So here we put in like full winning grants, so it has an idea of even how to draw and how to pull in from a well-structured grant. And so, yeah, you'll see it's already, and the beautiful thing of using ChatGPT and it pulling from the website is it pulled the organization's history, the mission of the church that I entered. So all that stuff was automatic, just extracted directly from the website. And then it even started generating the objectives for us, the timeline, the methodology, how we evaluate the sustainability, and then even started drafting the budget for us. And then here's the next step. And then the next step that I would use, because one thing, there are some limits of using this GPT, and that's where I'm going to highlight the next tool once we kind of go through this and answer your questions, is that it still requires you doing some prompting to continue through the process on your own. So it will be a little bit of practice using this method to get better, but this is still better than trying to use ChatGPT on your own, because we've done a lot of work to get it to perform at this level without having to like give it. And if you're doing this on your own, you have to upload a bunch of examples of how a good proposal should be written and giving it a structure for how to generate this type of result. So using this GPT will save you a ton of time. But the next step that I do when I'm using this particular GPT that we built is I would then ask it to expand upon the executive summary. So I won't do any really fancy prompting here. I'll just say, please expand on the executive summary. Because there's a limit of how much ChatGPT can generate at once, it's best to then start going back and section by section to ask it to expand on that section, and then you'll get a more robust output for the executive summary. And so you'll see it's given us a really solid executive summary for this proposal. It highlights the purpose of the grant. We're looking to enhance this church's security. Here's the goals. We want to install advanced security system. We want to conduct a comprehensive security training, and we want to develop an emergency preparedness plan. I didn't write any of that. Like, it drafted all that based upon what it reviewed as the proposal requirements, and then based upon the website of the nonprofit or the church that I entered. It highlighted the impact. And actually, I think based upon some of the examples, I know it's doing well because this is even some of the structure that we've added into our proposal generator in terms of the best case or best in class proposals. So it highlighted the impact of what this grant would mean for this organization. And then we clearly call out how much we're requesting, and then a really kind of brief itemized list, and then implementation plan. So you'll see it's done a very good job of generating a expanded executive summary based upon the outline that it was generated. So this is where, if you see something you don't like, or if you want to expand even more, I could even say, you can keep building and building on top of things. So if I wanted to expand the implementation plan in the executive summary, I can say, please expand the explanation of the implementation plan in the executive summary. And so what it should do is, rewrite the entire thing, but now it's going to expand just the section of the implementation plan. And even maybe there's something you didn't like in the implementation plan. Maybe it said we're going to install in Q1 and then do something in Q2. You can say, hey, go back and change the implementation plan, but in Q1, focus on X, and then it will go back and rewrite that section. So now you'll see it went from, I think, just like a very brief bullet on what the Q1 plans would be for the implementation to then expanding out on the Q1 plan for implementation. I'm going to highlight two things that are really important here. And actually, I need to figure out why my Zoom looks like it's going to end. So let's see if we can get that figured out here before that happens. I may need to just log in. I may not be logged in to Zoom here, but I'll answer a few questions and that gives me a little time to troubleshoot why our call is not logged in right now, or I'm not logged in to our paid account. But I see there's a couple questions and a few people joining, so let's get that sorted out. All right, cool. Let's jump to some of the questions we have here. Is there any risk of plagiarism? So that's a very good question. That's a very good question and point to raise. So AI specifically, particularly things like ChatGPT, because of issues that they've had around companies worried of plagiarism, they've gone out their way to prevent plagiarism through AI. So if you say, I'll give a very obvious example, print out the first chapter of the Harry Potter book, it will not do that for you. And when it comes to grant writing, I'm not sure where you run into plagiarism, particularly if you're writing a grant for yourself, but you should be fine of not running into plagiarism issues. We did use, when we did some of the best practices, we weren't drawing from a book. We didn't pull from a copywritten book examples of good proposals. We even uploaded either proposals we've written that have won, or we pulled from online content that highlighted the structure of good grants that I also included into the structure of the proposal writer. So there shouldn't be fears of that, but you should be mindful if you're copying and pasting things into the prompt, it will still even rewrite it. So if you're copying and pasting something you found on the internet, AI is pretty good, or particularly ChatGPT specifically, that in most cases, even if you cut and paste something into it, it will in most cases rewrite it in some way to then fit into the narrative style. But that's something to be mindful of about if there's plagiarism, it may be more about you copying and pasting from another source. And then the AI is now reusing what you copied and pasted into the writing. But in most cases, ChatGPT and many tools still are rewriting it, even when you cut and paste it. So it won't be verbatim unless you tell